Hip Hop Closet opened up in 1998 in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, way before the Brooklyn Navy Yard was popular. For the last 22 years, Kyiesha Kelly and her brother Malik have worked tirelessly and with passion to grow their business into where it's at right now. Due to the pandemic, orders have stopped. People are not buying fashion the way that they would normally buy. And so I wanted to speak to Kyiesha about that and about how to pivot in this new climate. She is the first internet business, her business is the first internet business that I had ever heard of. And so who better to talk about this new climate of online and digital presence than the owners of Hip Hop Closet. I present to you Kyiesha Kelly. I hope you enjoy the story. Peace and love, world. My name is Marlon Rice. I am the lead columnist for Our Time Press, which is the biggest community, Black-owned community newspaper in Brooklyn. I am signing on to you from the house, as most of you are. We're currently in about day 17, day 18 of the quarantine in New York City, the shelter in place that Cuomo put into place as of the 16th. And, before we get started on any of this, I definitely want to send heartfelt condolences to people who are losing friends and who are losing loved ones during this time. I pray that everybody that's watching this is in a safe and protected environment. I pray that we're doing all the right things that we need to do in order to flatten the curve. So you should be washing your hands, you should be disinfecting on a regular basis, all the things, wearing masks and gloves outside. So I just hope that this video finds everybody in a stable environment and safe. We don't know what happens. We don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. So the day that we film this to the day that you see this, we could be in a whole other sort of reality. But I just pray that everybody's safe. My name is Marlon, like I said. Part of what I'm doing is I'm speaking to small businesses, to community businesses in Brooklyn that have been affected in some form or fashion by COVID-19. And this one is an easy one because this is like my sister. I love her to death. We went to high school together, Brooklyn Tech. She and her brother Malik have an online clothing company, an online retail clothing store called hiphopcloset.com. And I'm going to let her tell you all about it. And we're going to have a great interview. Those of you who know us, y'all already know how it's going to go down. But let me introduce you to Kyiesha Kelly. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, what's up, Marlon? Thank you for having me. Cheers from the crib.
All right.
So yeah.
Sorry, go on. What you gonna say?
Nothing. What's up? We out here.
So I was gonna say, let's get started at the beginning. Tell us about your company. Tell us when you opened your company, why you opened your company. Tell us about it.
My brother and I started hiphopcloset.com in 1998. I was working as an engineer in California, and my brother was here. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. Went to Brooklyn Tech with you, and so many others. Shout out to Tech! And we decided, it was actually my brother's idea, and he saw a need for, or really he saw the future of retail, which was e-commerce. And he saw a definite gap in what was going on in providing the world with hip hop clothing and apparel and accessories and just anything hip hop related. We used to sell magazines and just a bunch of stuff for the culture. And we basically, our idea was to bring local brands. These brands were local for us to the internet, to the world, really. And so we started out by contacting different clothing designers to tell them what we were doing and to get them on board. We were the distribution, their e-commerce. Of course, nobody wanted to deal with us because we were young and we were new to the game and the internet was new. This was all just, uncharted territory. So what we decided to do was just go to retail stores and talk to retail stores and explain to them that they can expand their customer base by allowing us to sell their merchandise on the internet. So that's basically how we started. Once we got a couple stores online, we just kept going, and we were basically their e-commerce division. And then we were able to get a couple of clothing brands online, and it just grew from there. We were featured on MTV and Essence and in a number of different publications because we were the only ones in the space providing the world with authentic hip hop clothing and accessories. And pretty much that's how we started.
Okay. 22 years?
22 years, yes.
22 years. Brooklyn
Yes.
Navy Yard.
So we've been through a lot of Brooklyn Navy Yard, yes. We've been in the Brooklyn Navy Yard since 1999. I moved back to New York in 99, and my brother had found this small little office. I'm coming from corporate America, so when I moved back, I walk into the office, I'm like, this is it? And he was so disgusted. He like literally just left because he was like ungrateful. But as time went by, I realized what a gem we had with the Brooklyn Navy Yard and being in the heart of Fort Greene and just like really the city, because the Brooklyn Navy Yard is close to all three bridges that connect you to Manhattan. And it's a wonderful place to be. So we started out there when I moved home and just grew from there.
Now we can have a whole other conversation about the growth and development of the Navy Yard from when you started in that building as a tenant, in that complex as a tenant to now. Like that's a whole other that's a whole other documentary.
Yeah. The gentrification of the Navy Yard.
Right. But needless to say, you've been a small business owner for a very long time. You were a small business owner during 9/11, and you were a small business owner through all the transit strikes and Superstorm Sandy and everything that's happened, but never has anything happened quite like this.
Right.
Tell us for a minute, let's talk for a minute about your first notice that COVID-19 was affecting you as a business owner. Let's speak about that.
I guess it was week 2. Week 1 was still pretty normal. I was still in like a great space of, okay, I'll be working from home now, but nothing was so serious. It was still kind of like, okay, just stay home this week, or, figure it out this week. But I think week 2 is when it really hit me, when orders started to slow down and when just the reality of going outside started to become resistant and, shelter in place and don't go outside and the kids are at home. School is canceled for 2 weeks. And then there was a lot of hints about school not reopening, and then people started getting sick. So it was definitely week 2 when it started to hit me, and I started to feel literally like everything is over, everything is ending, and this is absolutely terrible. So
was there precautions happening within the Brooklyn Navy Yard? Like was the Navy Yard notifying you guys of anything? Was there any oversight from a environmental standpoint, meaning your job office, building 77? Like, were people saying things about Corona and taking precautions prior to you actually stop and starting sheltering in place?
So not so much. The Navy Yard did have a meeting. They had an initial tenant meeting, and it was basically nobody knew anything. So it was just really the initial meeting was really focusing on HR concerns. And there's a lot of really big businesses in the Navy Yard. We are not that big. We're mom and pop. We just have one employee. So it was a lot of discussion about what do you do for your employees and how do you help them and assist them with unemployment and stuff. So the Navy Yard was really hands-on and really helpful with that aspect of things. And so, but I guess everybody's main concern really was, what about rent? And they, of course, yeah, they of course couldn't answer that question. The interesting was that, and I'll just fast forward, I know we're going to get to this later, is last year, you know, we moved into a new space in the Navy Yard, where we opened up a showroom and event space. So that was part of that, and it still is part of our growth plan in determining and connecting with our customers and just growing the business from a event standpoint. So, and a showroom, which is something that we never had before. So we went hard in February. We had back-to-back events, and we had literally just had our last event, and in my mind, I was already taking a break from having events. So it was really interesting that it all just kind of coincided with one another. So I was already planning on taking a little break from that aspect of the business. So my main concern was, okay, now that I can't do it, you know, when you're told you can't do something now, now it's like, okay, like I want to do it now. I think I want to have something. So, I mean, we did have to cancel a couple of rentals that we had, and the Navy Yard just was really just there to tell us what resources were out there for us. So they were very helpful, but they did adamantly say that they were not shutting down the building. So we would still be able to come to work, but this was before the non-essential business shutdown.
Right. So I know you know, part of your business is international. In terms of sales, what percentage would you say is international sales? Ballpark.
Now it's definitely much lower now that a lot of international places have their own outlets for hip hop fashion.
Right.
So I'd say now it's probably like 25% maybe.
Well, depending on, because all right, so I interviewed somebody who is in Morocco right now. And they were saying how great of a job Morocco, Algeria, and one other place in Northern Africa was doing with the virus. Like, they closed down their borders. Every foreigner was expelled. You know, they were very much on top of it. And in fact, I actually saw another article today about South Africa and how on top of it they are. So I just wanted to kind of see if there was still this market for fashion, and if you may have noticed specific countries that you're still getting love from or still getting sales from, as opposed to, like, we know the UK is locked down, we know France is locked down, but are there touch points where people are kind of still living normal in terms of their fashion purchases?
I think so. Russia, we actually just got an order from Russia. But other than that, I'm not sure. It's really kind of hit or miss, but because a lot of our customers were in the UK area. So a lot of our international customers were UK and also Australia. But after, like, Australia was having its own issue with, like, wildfires and stuff, so that had pretty much died down already. And then UK, they were kind of ahead of the curve also with COVID, so that kind of died down. So that kind of slowed down probably in, like, January.
Right, things started slowing down then.
Yes, things started to slow down then. So I mean, it's really a global thing. So I mean, I think everybody's still it's slowed down, like, internationally, and I feel like they are still, like, definitely looking at New York like, ooh, it's coming from New York, I don't want it. Right.
That was my other question. Right. Like, how much of that is the hysteria? Like, because I remember when Amazon, and it's little touch points that'll change everything, because I remember when the Amazon thing came down, and it was like, oh, boxes that come from Amazon may have corona. Since then,
Right.
not one box has come in here. Every box is open outside now. And so it's these little things that you don't even realize it affects how you shop and how you connect with how you shop as a business owner and as a consumer.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, domestically, it's interesting because I mean, it's the ripple effect is now happening where it's increasing in other states domestically,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like there's still people that are untouched by it.
Mm-hmm.
There's still this huge divide between people that are within the mass hysteria of it all, and then people that are like, this isn't affecting me and I'm still going on as business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a gray area in between, but it's still, no, everybody is not on board with the whole mass hysteria of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we know, you and I both understand how when circumstances change, they change everything, like the butterfly effect, right? So once you bring another variable into the system, the entire system will change. Even if you remove that variable, it creates a ripple effect on the entire system. So coronavirus and COVID-19 has created this ripple in business where even after we are not quarantined and even after we can so-called go back outside, business and how commerce is dealt with will be forever rippled by this time frame, especially because it is a long period. Like we're moving into, excuse me, week 3 of quarantine, and you're not looking at anything earlier than April 30th, maybe another month after that. So business models have had to change like immediately, on the fly and immediately.
Right.
How does a corporation, how does an organization like Hip Hop Closet pivot in this time? And I mean, I'm not asking specifics, but what I am asking is from a macro level, when you look at how your business model, for you, your business model changed when you moved into Building 77, into a showroom sort of caliber, a different paradigm, right? Same company, a bit different of a paradigm. Now with this adds another layer to that paradigm. So what are some of the things you and Malik are talking about with regards to how to shift and pivot?
The interesting thing is that when you are in business, when you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, you always have to stay in this mindset of what's my next move? What's my next pivot? It's a constantly ever changing industry. And the minute you get comfortable doing any one thing and not evolving is the moment that you will start to die as a business. Right. So with this coming into play, I mean, nothing has really changed. The second week, like I said, when I started to feel this pressure and I started to feel like, oh my God, what's going on? I had this anxious energy to kind of pivot, like you said, and to change my business model. And that was one of the things that the Navy Yard really was talking to us about during these meetings. They kept saying, figure out how you can utilize the things that you have to address the what's going on in the world right now with COVID. For example, if you're making gowns or making clothing or doing any type of production, is there some way that you can produce PPE PPE? And so I started to get really anxious because I'm like, oh, I don't do that. Like, I can't produce PPE. Like, I got really annoyed that I can't pivot and I can't address, the needs of the customer right now. So I stepped back and I breathed and I thought about it, and I thought about all of the things that I had planned for the business, and I thought about what was going on in the landscape right now. A lot of people are needing entertainment. just flocking to social media and just anything where they have time now where they can watch stuff. So I thought about everything that we've done together over the course of the year. And I said, you know what? I have all of this content that I can just put out again. Maybe these people missed it the first time I put it out last year. Let me, re-energize all of the stuff that I've done over the course of the year and think about all of the things that I've wanted to do for the business and the growth that I have in mind for the business, and figure out how I can apply it to the situation that's going on now. Of course, I can't have people in the office now. However, I can arrange open mics on Zoom and get people virtually into a room. I can arrange book discussions. I can invite other designers onto my live and talk to them, and just create all of this content to continue to keep my customers engaged with me. And the website is still open, so people can still go online. So really, it's the same business model. I just do a little bit of tweaking and get a little more focused on the ideas that I had in place and the things that I wanted to do. And so that took a lot of pressure off of me. And, any entrepreneur that's out there listening to this, I would say to really just go back to the drawing board and really think about what their goals were, because the answer is probably right there. You might not have to completely pivot your business or do something completely different. You just have to tweak. And that's a skill that you always have to have throughout running a business. You always have to be ready for that fire, that banana in the tailpipe, or that, whatever it is, you have to be ready to. Yeah, you have to be ready for that. And that's what business is all about. And if you can't do that, then, you have to really think about whether entrepreneurship is the game for you.
Right. So let's talk about that social media world real quick, because there is a lot of attention now. Well, there's always been attention, but it's a heightened attention because people are at home more. So all social media numbers are going up. Twitter numbers are going up. Facebook numbers are going up in terms of engagements, in terms of shares, in terms of likes. Tell me what you see in terms of, especially because you've moved some of your Sweet 607 content into an online format, not all through social media, because we've used Zoom. You've used Zoom for an event that worked out. But tell me a bit about the trends that you're seeing, because you are an e-commerce business. Like you were one of the first people that I knew to make money off the internet, to make money literally on the internet. So like, this is your playing field to a certain extent. Tell me about some of the new trends that you see and how business owners can utilize those trends to kind of, to set their sales in a profitable direction.
Right. So, I mean, what was the question?
What are some of the,
you said so much, I got distracted.
I'm sorry, right. I took it around. I did like this. What are some of the trends?
Oh, okay, trends, right.
And on the internet in terms of this new wave of attention?
Really just more creative advertising, really more just getting really creative with your advertising and being really customer driven, so that you really connect with your customer. You know who your customer is. Time like this, your customer might not be in a position to purchase anything at all. Right. So you really have to figure out, okay, well, how can I connect with this customer and keep them engaged without selling something to them, which really is marketing 101. You give, and then you ask. That's, the way they put it.
Right.
Those are the trends that I'm seeing. A lot more advertising, but really advertising in a creative way, and also a lot of lives, just, people are just doing a lot of lives where they're connecting with different people in the industry, and just to keep the customer engaged, and also get their mind off of what exactly is happening right now.
Right. Because, so like you said, there's a lot more, like, people are trying a lot more. They're doing lives and things of that nature because people are watching more. Like even my iPhone tells you my iPhone tells you every Sunday what your screen time was from the week prior.
Right.
So last Sunday, it told me that my screen time was up like 38%.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. What changed? Well, what changed is I'm in the house more. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking online more. And now it actually is one of those things where the marketing dollar only mattered if your brand was something that could be believable if it was free. You know what I'm saying? Like you could spend marketing dollars, but if you got a corny brand, you got a corny brand. Like, and I'm talking from a business standpoint, but also from a person to person standpoint. You and these other comedians, they had built brands off of what was 15-second videos before IG even went
with no ads.
With
like
no ads. With no
yeah.
marketing money. You know what I'm saying? And so that's a study. You mentioned Marketing 101. That's a study in how to engage the customer and how that looks in terms of dollars versus marketing dollars you spend. So now I'm saying all that to say now the playing field is kind of level on that, because
I would think,
it's on, and it doesn't matter. Like at this point, look, we all been in the crib 3 weeks. I don't got no cut, but people understand you ain't been out for 3 weeks. So it's you could be yourself now, and your testimony and your brand and your charisma could drive your company now more so than any other time before.
Right. Like they've been talking for, I don't know, years about the authenticity of your brand and being authentic. Well, now's the time. And if you don't know how to translate your brand into an authentic way, then you really have to sit down and figure it out. And now's not the time to be afraid of anything. Like you said, everybody's in their crib looking crazy. Everybody's in their crib. So you just have to get up, get out, and, and do it. Because the reality of the situation is that we're not going back to a normal. There's no going back. It's only going forward. And it's always been that way, forever. There's no going back. So you really have to figure out how to move in this new world and how to adapt to the change and what's coming. One thing that I've always been able to really do well, myself and my brother, is to see the future and to see the future of business and the future of the economy, and just to see how things were going to evolve. And and that just comes from sitting down and listening to yourself and not watching what other people are doing around you. There are certain trends that, maybe you can get insight from, but really now's the time to be your creative self. And the people that are going to win in this world are the creatives right now, because that's unique to you. What you bring to the table is unique to you. Nobody can copy that or, co-opt that. And especially now in this world where the middleman is going to be cut out. And once the middleman is cut out, it's you and only you. and you have to bring yourself forward and show people who you are. And no matter what it is, whether it's, drawing or making clothes or playing an instrument or singing, whatever it is, you bring that out and you show the world. And like you said, with the comedians, they weren't advertising, they were just authentically being themselves, and they grew. So that's what people really have to realize, is that we're in a space where you have to create. And that's really what the world has always been about, is we're humans, we're here to create, and you just have to figure out what's your best way to create and really do it. And the beauty of it is that we have the internet and we have social media, and you can reach billions of people just like that. You know, I mean, it isn't easy. You know, like I say it like it's easy, but it's what it is, you know, like you just have to do it.
It's level. The playing field is level.
The playing field is level. Like you have the opportunity to put your full self forward and to show the world who you are.
Before we go real quick, because I think it's going to cut off in 30 seconds, give them your business information where they can find you.
Okay, we're Hip Hop Closet on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, even though I don't tweet that much. The website is hiphopcloset.com for shopping. And we're Suite 607, SUITE 607 on Instagram. And Hip Hop Closet on Facebook also. Just plain Hip Hop Closet.
Cool. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. No, cheers.